Probably my dad being involved with Honda as a child definitely sparked my interest in the brand, and then playing Gran Turismo 2 and 1, watching Fast and Furious, and seeing news on the SEMA show through my dad and my own independent research. That's definitely kind of what got me into cars and interested in Honda, especially when I got the Civic and I started working on it and building the car and realized how logical all of the engineering choices were. I kind of got addicted to working on the cars. As you can see now, they're surrounding me. And this is the collection hall portion of our facility. I'll start off with one of my favorite cars here. This is a '94 Honda Civic SIR 2. It's equipped with traction control and ABS, which is extremely uncommon. It was a one-owner, female-owned car, and it's only traveled about 71,000 kilometers from new. This car is special mainly because it has a 170 horse V16, a good 5-speed, and it's lightweight, which is about all you need for a fun car, in my opinion. Really remains as my favorite Civic chassis, and this is a great example of one. First of all, the cars are just old, so that's the first thing to consider. Is if you're, restoring like a '92 Civic EG, and a common car to most people, but close to 30 years old, and the factory hasn't made parts for the car in at least 10 years in most cases, for most of the major restoration type parts. And because of the limited quantity of them made, there's not much of a market for American manufacturers to target reproduction parts, like, for example, in the American car industry, where you can essentially rebuild most older American cars with brand new parts made from the original stamps. With Japanese cars, usually this just isn't the case. So Honda, like most companies, has started to discontinue essentially everything because the factory they order the parts from basically decides to stop making the part based on the age of the mold or cost of production. Next off, this is another one of my childhood favorite cars. So this is a 1996 Prelude Type S. We received the Prelude in North America in 1997 and received a similar Type SH variant, but didn't receive the specific 220 PS H22A that this car has. It has a specific Type S front and rear lip spoiler and a special interior, which in my opinion looks very classy and is held up well with the two-tone leather and suede. In the same year, you could have purchased this 1996 Integra Type R sedan DB8 chassis. This example is a one-owner car and was also ironically female-owned. When I bought the car, it had Mickey Mouse sunshades in the rear still. Truly a race car for the road, but has 4 doors for your children. Momo wheel and Recaro's factory equipment. A lot of it's environmental, but it's also weight. In this time when these cars were built, there was no corners cut on quality because the quality of the item sold the car, where now the electronic features of the car sell the car. So what's great about all of these vehicles is they're timeless. They're in a period where really time can go on and they'll always seem not new, but relevant. And I think the late 1980s and 1990s cars, even heading into the early 2000s, are the peak of that philosophy. Just perfect simplicity and good manufacturing. Beside it, I have a 99 Civic Type R. This is the facelift of the car, so it has the facelift bumper and headlights. This car, as you can see, also has Recaro's, but in red. Also with a Momo wheel, with a 185 horse V16. Great car, but seriously lacking the final drive the Integra Type R has. With a Type R gearbox swap, I think it really wakes them up. However, this one I'll leave untouched as it only has 10,000 kilometers. My biggest challenges are the loss of crucial restoration services, just environmental regulations, time passing. For example, chrome plating is more and more difficult to do. Hexavalent zinc chromate is increasingly difficult to find a plater that'll even touch that coating anymore because of the environmental regulations surrounding it, which is necessary for these vehicles. Obviously, discontinued parts, even little accessories. To find little accessories, they have to come out of used or scrap vehicles, and with those vehicles decreasing by the day, obviously the availability of either used or new old stock accessories is almost down to nothing. Beside it is another low mileage car also, as I spoke about earlier. It's a 98 spec Integra Type R with 11,000 kilometers that has never seen really any type of moisture. I think it's potentially been wiped with a diaper its entire life. So definitely the condition I like cars in, as you can see from my facility. Beside it, going back in time, this is a 1992 Honda Civic Vario SIR. So like the hatchback up there, this car has the same B16 with 170 horse. However, instead of traction control, this one has the limited slip differential option from the factory, which is also quite a rare mechanical option for the car. It's even finished with the complete Gathers audio system, and about every option you could purchase for the car, sans the sunroof, which is great because real sports cars don't have sunroofs, in my opinion. 3D printing doesn't cover rubbers well enough, and the plastic quality of 3D printing isn't up to the standard of, you know, an injected plastic item. And you can't make like a injected vinyl plastic multi-piece dash in a 3D printer. It's impossible. So the technology for small items I think is fantastic. For example, Honda just discontinued the rear pivot cap that goes beneath a rear wiper, which is always faded to essentially blue from black. So that'd be an easy piece to remake in a 3D printer, but remaking, for example, a dashboard is near impossible unless you can find a manufacturer that's willing to take on the tooling cost of creating a dashboard. But it's near impossible, especially with environmental regulations. You can't make plastic the same anymore. You can't make foam the same anymore. There's new technology in place, and it's not necessarily better, although it may be better for the planet. However, there's an argument to be said that making a product higher quality, even at a cost to the environment, may be worth it because the product stays around for longer. We've moved into disposable vehicles, but just like the word says, they're disposable. The parts, although they may be more environmentally conscious to produce, the vehicle's coming off the road faster. So is that really better for the environment? Probably not, but it's a hard problem that most people don't want to confront. Beside it, once again, going forward in time, this is a 1999 Honda CR-V Performa. It has a 150 horsepower B20, so a little more than the 120 horse we received, and the gearing is a little more fun. It has a special bumper and grille, but other than that, there's very little difference from the North American CR-V to this one, other than the styling of this one looking a lot better, in my opinion, and being considerably quicker. I wouldn't say faster. I actually just finished putting a bunch of Honda Access accessories on this car, like the roof rack and mirror covers, fog light covers, chrome wheels, sidebars, mud flaps, really anything you could think of for this chassis Honda essentially made. I really think that 96 to 2000 was the peak of factory Honda accessories. I'll get into that later with my step wagon, which is in the back. Even down, compared from 5 years ago to now, the availability of cool optional accessories for the cars I own has decreased dramatically. Serious lack of vehicles on the road has left a real lack of parts for sale in the aftermarket community, and no aftermarket manufacturer has any desire to develop parts because the chassis is too old and it's not worth remaking a mold or putting the time into designing a product that they'll sell 10 of. Unfortunately for me, those are the products I like. So in the future, I'll have to develop my own products. And that's obviously a challenge too, because molding is expensive, casting is expensive, and it'll be difficult to do a cost to benefit analysis on creating things, but if it's viable, it's definitely a challenge I'll be willing to accept in the future. Next up, this is a car I did a full restoration on, a 1991 Honda Beat. This is a K car, which is a limited power, limited size car in Japan that fits into a certain class. However, tons of fun with a mid-engine placement and rear-wheel drive. My dad made me into the person I am today mainly because his entrepreneurial spirit made me want to create something and create a brand or product that people want to buy and to take pride in selling that product. He's, in my opinion, a great salesperson and a great leader, and I've always aspired to have those same qualities in myself. And in my entire life, I felt like I've been living underneath my dad's shadow. So hopefully soon I'll be breaking out of it with CCraft. And not that it's a bad thing to be in his shadow, but I'm happy that he's inspired me to move out of it. Really a spiritual successor to one of Honda's first projects. Right here, this is an S800, a 1967. It's not the first of the S cars, which would be the S360. This is a late car and isn't even chain drive in the rear. This is a live axle car. However, still really neat. 4 individual carbs, 70 horsepower out of 800 cc in 1967. Really impressive stuff. Really shows evidence of Mr. Honda being in the factory and building the cars down to the machining detail on the engine. The sand casting on this motor alone is insane for the time period. It's truly Formula One quality. What's next is a difficult question. Namely, I really want to improve my skill. That's the first thing. I want to become more comfortable with engine and transmission work, more comfortable than I am currently. I want to become more skilled in fabrication and reproduction of parts. And really what's next is my dream to provide parts for people who want to restore their vehicles to an unlimited standard, not the standard they're limited to by parts availability and even potentially cost. I'm really hoping to eliminate some of those barriers and open up restoration to every person. I think a lot of people would find joy in building cars the way I do. So what's next is hopefully creating those parts and inspiring this generation and the next generation to be interested in doing this and continuing the dream. My name's Chase Johnson. I'm the founder here at CCraft Detail and Custom. That's the sad part, is like, it's hard to place blame in all this. There's no blame, it's just natural market trends and the way things are. You know, there's nothing you can do about it. It's a bummer, you know, like I can't get door seals, you know, like, and how do you repaint a car if you can't get new rubber? Like that 87 CRX back there, there's a reason it's not rebuilt yet. I have to wait years to find new old stock parts for them. Where if I was building a 1990 Chevy OBS truck, like I could just buy reseal, brand new, you know what I mean? It's all available. Buy a cab, buy a full cab, you know? It's not like I can buy a full raw bare chassis. I wish Honda would release the CAD files, but they won't.